Hey, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and as writers, mental health is vitally important. I'm Jay Nicole, a romance author of over 40 novels, and I can attest that mental health is extremely important. As a matter of fact, in 2020, during the pandemic, I can tell you it was extremely hard for me to sit down and write. I have an amazing writing routine, but in 2020, I just couldn't tap in. One of those reasons was probably the pandemic. Another reason was probably because I had just had another baby. So my mental health was all over the place. I couldn't focus, anxiety, stress, all types of new mommy issues that I was suffering from. And then the doom and gloom of the pandemic also happened, and my words just took a hit. So if you go back to my catalog in 2020, there weren't a lot of books that came out. But midway through the year, I started to realize that my mental health was an issue and I needed to do something about it. So, in light of Mental Health Awareness Month, I want to share with you a few things that may be important to you as well. So, if you're full-time or an aspiring writer, you know that most of your time is spent with your characters. You may have a full-time job where you get to go into an office and speak with coworkers, etc. Or you may work from home remote, especially now after the pandemic. Most of us are working remotely and outside of an office environment, which for some people that can take a hit on your mental health as well. Depending on your personality, working alone without any coworkers could be exhilarating, or it could be daunting. I know some people during the pandemic who are working remote who were dying to get back into the office. They needed that human interaction. For me, I'm an introvert, so I actually enjoy the alone time. But even I know when it's time to come up out of the hole. Mental health for a creative is important because if your mental clarity diminishes, your creativity can take a hit as well. Some things that can creep in and harm your mental health are pressure to create, deadlines, endless tasks. As an indie, we all know these things can be endless. I often laugh that we think that writing is the biggest thing that you have to do as an author, but it actually isn't. Writing is one of the main things, obviously, because you need to put out the work. But once you finish a story, you have to edit it. Even if you have an editor, you probably should at least read through it a few times. Then you have to coordinate or create your own book covers. Then you have to do marketing. Then you have to switch over your hat and do all the things associated with the business side of things. Taxes, income, expenses, tracking all of that, making sure that money is coming in, and hopefully more money is coming in than is going out. But that's another story for another day. Either way, there are a lot of things that are involved with being an author. And all of those things can be stressful. And the more stress you have, like I said earlier with me during 2020, it just killed my creativity. I couldn't write for nothing. But as soon as I learned how to tap in, meditate, exercise, and do some of the other tips I'll tell you today, I was able to get back on my writing routine. So if you're ever feeling like you're hitting a writer's block, I often actually say, take a look at your mental health. See how you're doing. Are you stressed, overwhelmed, facing anxiety or depression? Some of those things can really impact your writing and all the words that you're able to get out. Some other things that are harmful to our mental health is doubt. If you doubt your abilities, your knowledge, your creativity, as an indie, this seems to be a cycle for me. I often get a new idea, get really excited about it, and then somewhere midway through the story, I start doubting if anyone would actually want to read the story. Fortunately, most of the time, I circle back to my happy place by the end of the story, and I'm very pleased with what I put out. But doubt can be harmful. That vicious cycle can be harmful. Then, doubt and thinking that you're not doing what you can do can lead to imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome is essentially thinking that I'm not cut out for this. I can't do this. Look at this other person who's doing this a little bit better than me. You essentially see the success of others and never see how you can reach similar milestones. That can be extremely detrimental to your creativity and to your mental health. And like I said earlier, stress. Stress is bad for so many reasons. Stress can lead to diseases, it can lead to depression, it can lead to anxiety, it can lead to feeling overwhelmed, which is also feeling like, anxiety. And it can also cripple your writing ability. Stress is terrible, so I always tell people to make sure you're managing your stress and your stress levels. If it's stressing you out, find a way to get rid of it. So essentially, when you're thinking about your mental health, when you're thinking about your writing, if your mental health is suffering, then it's possible that your writing could suffer too. So make sure you're taking the time to tend to your mental health. I want to give you a few items to remind you how to tackle your mental health struggles and challenges. So, what can you do? Like I said earlier, writing can be a lonely career. So, build a community. Reach out to other writers, become friends. They are in the same place that you are and often can offer more than just friendship. They can offer tips, advice, critiques, and other things that you may need. When you're building a community, make sure you give more than you take. It just feels good to give. And the community will be a better place if you are giving more than you take. And by doing that, that means like showing up, at seeing what you can do to help someone else. Then when it's time for you to need some help, I guarantee you someone will be there for you. Another tip, breathe. By the way, if you didn't know already, I am a meditation coach. So if you ever want to listen to some of my meditations, drop a comment in the link and I'll give you those because they're great to listen to help you get through the day, to handle anxiety, depression, etc. But right now I'm speaking of breathing as in stepping away from your craft, from the business, just enjoying life. Sometimes we get so deep into our story and what we are trying to create that we don't take a moment to breathe, to enjoy the process. So I'm telling you to enjoy the process. And with that, live. Outside of writing or reading, what other things do you enjoy? Don't forget those things. Don't let them fall by the wayside. If reading happened to be something you truly enjoyed before you picked up writing, don't forget about it. Make sure you continue reading. I have another video that talks about reading for business, but right now I'm just talking about reading for pleasure. Don't allow that pleasure of reading to be stolen away from you. Another thing, meditate. Like I said earlier, I am a meditation coach, so I am always going to say meditation is a great way to clear your mind, to clear some of that fog out. When the characters aren't speaking to you anymore, you have plot holes and you can't think of what's next in the story, meditate. Sit quietly if you need to. You can listen to meditations, you can listen to calming music, running water. Some of those things just allow your mind to become clear. And that will definitely help not only with your mental health, but also with your creativity. Another tip is to eat healthy. Okay, so that may not be directly related to writing, but I guarantee you if your body is in check and you're healthy, if you're not suffering from any illnesses, then you likely will be able to concentrate more on your writing because you're not worried about aches and pains or illnesses. And eating healthy coincides with exercising. So it's great to eat healthy, but as much time as we spend in front of either a notepad or a laptop, a computer, at a desk, sitting in a chair, most of our day, it's very important to get up, get some movement in, and exercise, even if that's just taking a walk outside. A double bonus for being outside and grabbing some vitamin D. Another thing is prioritize the things that matter. I tell my mom all the time to have a top 3. What 3 things must you get done in a day? Prioritize those things and not allow the other things to either fall off into another day or be handled at a later time. But if you have only 3 things that you're truly focusing on, you won't get overwhelmed by the task of life, everything else that has to be done. Likely some of that can wait. For the things that are critically important, it should get a top 3 and make sure it gets done. Another thing is spending time with friends and family. Those people who love and support you. They may not buy your book, but they love and support you. At the end of the day, they'll be there whether you are on a bestsellers list or not. They support you no matter what. Spend time with them. Allow them to pour love into you and pour love into them. Last but not least, remember your why. Why did you start out as a writer in the first place? Keep that at the forefront, and when times get challenging, remind yourself of that why. I hope that you mind your mental health and prioritize your well-being. It is critically important not only for you as a person, but for you as a writer, for your craft, for your creativity. Because at the end of the day, your mental health matters, and so do you. If you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a like, subscribing to my channel, and leave me a comment. Tell me what you like, what you didn't like, or what you would like to hear more of. Thank you, and take care.